The morning of my wedding should have felt like a dream. I still remember sitting in front of the mirror, watching a makeup artist turn my nervous face into something softer, calmer, prettier than I felt. My white dress hung behind me like a promise I had spent years praying for. The room smelled like roses, hairspray, and fresh coffee. Everyone kept smiling. Everyone kept saying the same thing. You look beautiful, Emma. You're glowing. You're so lucky. Lucky. That was the word people used when they looked at me and Daniel. Daniel was the kind of man people admired before they even knew him. Calm voice, steady hands, a commercial pilot with a quiet smile and the kind of confidence that made people feel safe around him. He wasn't loud, he wasn't flashy, but when he looked at me, I always felt chosen. And after everything I had survived, being chosen felt like a miracle. My older brother, Ryan, had never liked him. At first, I told myself it was normal. Ryan never liked any man in my life. He was the kind of brother who acted protective in public and controlling in private. Growing up, people called him my shield. They never saw how often that shield became a weapon. Ryan had always needed to be the loudest voice in every room, the strongest opinion, the center of every family dinner, every celebration, every crisis. And my wedding was the first day that wasn't about him. He smiled through the engagement. He gave speeches at the rehearsal dinner. He even hugged Daniel and called him brother. But something in his eyes never matched his words. The morning of the ceremony, he knocked once and walked into my bridal suite without waiting. He stood there in his tailored suit, smiling too hard. You still have time to cancel this, he said. I laughed because I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. His eyes moved to my dress. You really trust him that much? A strange chill moved through me. What is that supposed to mean? Ryan stepped closer, lowering his voice. You think you know who you're marrying. You don't. I stared at him, confused, angry. Ryan, not today. He gave me a look I had known my whole life. The look he used right before he tried to ruin something he couldn't control. Then he smiled again. Fine, don't say I didn't warn you. And he left. I should have followed him. I should have asked Daniel what Ryan meant. But I didn't, because an hour later, I was walking down the aisle toward the man I loved. And I had no idea that before the night was over, my own brother would hit me in front of everyone. And my groom would expose a truth so devastating, the entire room would go silent. The ceremony was perfect. At least, that's how it looked from the outside. The music played. Guests smiled through tears. Daniel held my hands like I was something sacred. And when he said his vows, his voice trembled just enough to break me open. I choose you, he whispered. In peace, in pain, in truth. I choose you. I thought those words were romantic. I didn't realize they were a warning. The reception began like every elegant wedding does champagne. Laughter, music, too many cameras. For a little while, I let myself believe Ryan had simply decided not to make trouble. Then came the speeches. My maid of honor gave hers first, sweet, emotional, harmless. Then Ryan stood. He lifted his glass with a smile so polished, no one else noticed how cold it was. To my little sister, he said, she's always had a talent for trusting the wrong people. A few awkward laughs slipped through the room. I felt my stomach tighten. Ryan kept going. She always sees what she wants to see, even when the truth is right in front of her. Daniel's hand found mine under the table. Firm calm. Ryan turned toward him. And Daniel, well, let's just say pilots are very good at living double lives. The room shifted. The laughter died. I felt heat rush into my face. Ryan stopped, but he didn't. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small stack of printed photographs. My blood turned cold. He held them up for the room to see. Daniel at an airport with another woman. Daniel sitting beside her. Daniel touching her hand. A sharp sound escaped my throat before I could stop it. The room erupted in whispers. Ryan looked at me like he was enjoying every second of my humiliation. I tried to warn you, he said, but some women need public pain before they believe private truth. I stood so fast my chair nearly fell. I turned to Daniel, my entire body shaking. He didn't deny it. He didn't even look surprised. And in that one terrible second, something inside me shattered. I stepped toward Ryan, desperate, furious, humiliated. What have you done? He smiled. And then I slapped the photos out of his hand. That was when he hit me. His fist came fast, sharp, brutal, and thoughtless. The room gasped as I stumbled sideways, pain exploding across my face. For 1 second, the entire world stopped. My mother screamed. Someone dropped a glass. And Daniel stood up. I had never seen rage look so controlled. He stepped between us, his voice low and lethal. Don't touch my wife again. Ryan laughed. Your wife? Tell her who she is to you after you explain the woman in those photos. I tasted blood. I looked at Daniel, broken. Tell me the truth. And Daniel finally did. But it wasn't the truth Ryan thought he was exposing. It was worse, because the woman in those photos wasn't Daniel's lover. She was Ryan's wife, and Daniel had proof. The silence in that room felt alive, heavy, breathing, watching. Ryan's face changed first. For the first time all day, he looked afraid. Daniel reached into his jacket and placed a sealed envelope on the table in front of everyone. Then he looked at me, not with panic, not with guilt, with heartbreak. I wanted to tell you after the wedding, he said quietly. I wanted one day where Ryan couldn't ruin your life first. My hands trembled as I opened the envelope. Inside were printed messages, hotel receipts, flight records, photos, more than enough. Not of Daniel having an affair, of Ryan's wife meeting another man in secret, over and over. And Daniel had known because he had flown one of those routes himself. He recognized her. He saw Ryan's wife with another man multiple times. He told Ryan privately weeks ago. That was the truth. Ryan already knew he was being betrayed. And instead of facing his own broken marriage, he chose to destroy mine. Daniel looked at him with a calm that felt colder than rage. You begged me not to tell her before the wedding, Daniel said, so you could handle it privately. Ryan said nothing. You said if your life was falling apart, hers should too. The room turned on him all at once. My mother sat down like her legs had stopped working. My father looked at Ryan like he no longer recognized his own son. And Ryan, my loud, untouchable, always in control brother, stood in the middle of that room with nowhere left to hide. Emma, he said, his voice cracking, I was trying to protect you. I laughed, not because it was funny, because it was the first time I saw him clearly. No, I said, wiping blood from my lip. You were trying to make sure I suffered with you. That was the moment he lost the room. Not when the truth came out. Not when the evidence hit the table. But when everyone finally saw what I had lived with my entire life. Ryan was never protecting me. He was controlling me. And the moment he couldn't, he tried to destroy me. Security removed him before the cake was cut. His wife left before the dancing started. And for the first time in my life, Ryan walked out of a room without power. The bruise on my face lasted 2 weeks. The lesson lasted longer. Daniel and I still took our first dance. A little shaken, a little broken, but honest. And strangely peaceful. Because betrayal doesn't always come from strangers. Sometimes it comes from the people who love you the loudest and hurt you the quietest. But pain has a way of exposing truth. And truth, no matter how brutal, is still the beginning of freedom.